Hi everyone, I wanted to give you a little video overview of the slides for this week, the content, and the online module activities and the expectations when you have an online class. So week 6, we are talking about the warm demander. You read a little about the warm demander in Zaretta Hammond, and now for this week you will read Lisa Delpit chapter 4, which goes even deeper into the idea of warm demander. So our big question is, what is a warm demander, and how does this term inform our discussion of ed psychology and classroom management? I wanted to point out a few ideas from the warm demander chapter in Delpit. If you haven't read it yet, that's okay. You'll have an idea of some things to look for as you're reading. If you have read it, this might encourage you to go back and look a little deeper at a few of the ideas. First of all, I wanted to point out the idea that warm demanders have high expectations, but it's not just high expectations of their students, it's that they take action to really help their students live up to those expectations. I liked the quote on page 77 where Delpit says, "Warm demanders expect a great deal of their students, convince them of their own brilliance, and help them reach their potential in a disciplined and structured environment." So this is where the classroom management piece and the academic piece really comes in, where you are providing that support for your students. The other thing to think about is that being a warm demander looks different for everyone. We all have different personalities in our lives and in the classroom, and I don't want you to feel like when you're reading that chapter 4, you have to look exactly like any of those teachers that are described in that chapter. So along these lines, I liked the quote on page 81 where Delpit says, "Real concern about students not living up to their academic potential should be transmitted in the teacher's genuine mode of emotional expression." This makes me think we all need to be ourselves. We need to be ourselves with our students. For some of us, that's humor. For some of us, that's more serious tone. For some of us, that may really be a quiet tone. So thinking about what really is your genuine mode of emotional expression and how do you use that to be a warm demander in your own way. The last thing I wanted to bring your attention to in chapter 4 was around these two graphics that are helping to explain the study that took place in Chicago, looking at schools with different kinds of academic press, which is really those expectations piece, right? What are the expectations for students around academics? And then that combined with what kind of social support was available at the school. And I just really want you to think deeply about what does it look like to have both high academic expectations and provide the high social support that students may need to reach those expectations, and to think about the potential there. And, in this study, students who had that combination of the high academic press and the high social support were able to make gains of almost 2 years, and in math, more than 2 years. So it just really speaks to how much we can do with our students when we have that combination of the components of the. In the last part of the video, I want to take a few minutes to talk about your 2 main tasks for the online class module, including watching and reflecting on a TED Talk video and working on and completing and posting to Canvas your classroom management plan part 1. Here we are in the week 6 online module. You, as we talked about, will have read Delpit chapter 4. Here are the TED Talk videos that I mentioned. You have 3 choices. You're welcome to watch more than one if you'd like. And then your reflections will go here in a Google Doc. I'm just going to show you briefly what that looks like. So here's the Google Doc. That link will take you right here. The editing is open for anyone to add their ideas to the Google Doc. You have a spot for your name. Please list the title of the video. Any key takeaways. I would expect at least 2 to 3 key takeaways. And then what connections can you make to the ideas of the warm demander? If you make any mistakes or you edit anyone else's work, you can always go up to the edit undo function. If anything really goes wrong in this shared doc, please just send me an email and I'll see if I can fix it up by going back in the version history. Moving back over to our module. The last thing that I'm giving you plenty of time to work on over the next week is Classroom Management Plan Part 1. I know some of you were feeling a little nervous about it, so I really wanted to make sure you had plenty of time to work on it. remember that it is due Sunday, October 6th. You can click on the link above. You can get to it through assignments. And I also included the sample paragraph that we looked at in class on September 24th, as well as the brainstorm ideas that we came up with on the board when we were talking about what does the author in the sample paragraph, what are they actually doing there in part 1, moving between citations and your own narrative around your philosophical stance on classroom management. The last thing I want to bring your attention to is preparing for week 7. So you're going to be reading a link on Canvas from Teach Like a Champion. It's a great book. If you like what you read in the link, you're welcome to purchase the book. It's very affordable. And then similar to this week, you'll just be completing the online class activities, which will also have a reminder about that reading, the Teach Like a Champion reading. I will post that module by October 5th, if not sooner, and all of the activities will be due by Wednesday, October 16th, so that you can plan ahead. I hope you're all doing well. Feel free to reach out and check in with me if you have any questions that can't be answered by looking at the resources that you have.